And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you bet money lines and not spreads. 3 more picks in the NHL today. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conium, and it was a 3-0 sweep of the board for all of the bets yesterday. And as I mentioned off the top, that's why we bet. I talked about it yesterday. We bet on the Minnesota Timberwolves, just the money line, bet the minus 127 because the spread was 2. What did they do? They won by 1. So if you bet the spread, Minnesota Timberwolves do not cover. That's a losing bet. Now, previously, I would have taken the minus 105, the minus 110, would have said it's only 2 points. Would have lost that bet. Instead, we dropped 1.16 units to win 0.91 back. Minnesota Timberwolves win by 1. The other 2 bets had the Winnipeg Jets plus 120. Winnipeg Jets plus 112 on the money line. They beat the Colorado Avalanche in overtime. And we had the LA Kings minus 120 on the money line to beat the Florida Panthers, which they did. I did have one more bet if you do follow my picks over on the BettingPros app. All free, all the time, all my picks. Did take the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat the Houston Rockets. They lost by 1. So overall, it was 2 units for me, but the video here swept the board up 3 units. As I mentioned, if you follow me on the BettingPros app, link is in the description, bettingpros.com/you/Tyler Conium. All my picks are all synced. They're all verified. We're now up like 40 units in the last month and a half or something, so been doing very, very well, so I appreciate that. And if I have won you any money on a bet, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, or follow me on any one of these social channels, which I post as well. And let me know how you guys think. It's the 4th day. Tomorrow I'd planned to do a live show. I'm not sure if that's going to work out, just with life and all those sorts of things, but just getting back into the groove of things has been really, really nice. And as I always say, if you're watching on YouTube, picks are right there. If you don't want to listen to me ramble, if you're listening to the audio version, well, just listen to me at 1.5 or 1.25 speed, whatever you have to do there, because I don't want this to be just picks, but I was thinking like the Friday show could be more of like a chit chat type thing if it's live, versus this where obviously people are tuning in, they want the bets and they want to move on with the day. So we'll see how that goes. Might not be able to do it tomorrow. If I don't do a live or a full video, I'll obviously mention that, but we'll figure it out, and I will still have bets. So let's get into the 3 hockey bets for today. We're going to start with the Carolina Hurricanes. I almost said Carolina Panthers. Still have hockey on the brain. Carolina Hurricanes are at home to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I like the Carolina Hurricanes on the puck line. I know I just said bet money lines and not spreads, but it's still minus 125 on the puck line, and I think the Hurricanes have a good chance here. Why do I think that? Well, they're 29-16-3. They're a very, very good hockey team. They are 18-5-1 at home. Columbus Blue Jackets are better than I think a lot of people expected this season, but they're 7-13 on the road, and that 7th win just came last night when they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-1. So can they go on the road, beat the Leafs, and beat the Hurricanes on back-to-back nights? I really just don't see that happening, even though they are playing good hockey. But Carolina's playing some pretty good hockey as well. They've won 3 straight games with victories over the Vegas Knights, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Dallas Stars. When you look at their head-to-head history, Columbus has actually won 3 of the last 4 meetings, including the New Year's Eve game where they beat them 4-3 in overtime. But previous to that, Carolina had beat them 5 straight games. And when you look at the way Carolina won these games, 4-1, 3-0, 4-2, 3-2, 6-2, and 4-1. So all their victories aside from one have come on the puck line. Carolina is rested. They haven't played in a couple of days. As I mentioned, they had a quick road trip. Chicago, Dallas, back at home now, where they are 18-5-1. Columbus has been good against the spread, but like I mentioned, all their firepower, I think, was last night against the Maple Leafs in a big victory. Don't expect them to be able to do that. And also, Toronto, if you look at the way that they've traveled, so Columbus's road trip, they went from being at home in Carolina, up to New York, where they play the Rangers and the Islanders, then up to Toronto. Now they're back down to Carolina. It's not that far, but it's also not necessarily that close. Not as close as like New York and Toronto are. So give me the Carolina Hurricanes on the puck line, minus 125. That's at DraftKings. The next bet I like is I'm taking a road team this time. We were successful yesterday taking a road team at plus money with the Winnipeg Jets. Doing it again here with the Montreal Canadiens that are plus 106. They're on the road in Detroit. So a battle of two original six teams, which conveniently I've got my original six mug that I'm drinking my coffee out of this morning. Give me the Montreal Canadiens on the money line against Detroit Red Wings. Montreal is playing some of the best hockey in the entire NHL right now. They are 7-2 in their last 9 games. Now they've won 3 straight games in overtime and one in a shootout. But they just beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-2. They beat the New York Rangers 5-4. They beat the Stars. They beat Utah, Washington, Colorado. Like, they're beating good hockey teams. The only team they've beaten recently that's not good, really, you could say, is Utah, and then a game against Vancouver who's struggling. But they've been playing very, very well. Then you look at Detroit, who they were on a 5-game win streak, have now lost 4 of their last 5, including 3 straight. They went on a 4-game road trip where they started it off well. They beat the Florida Panthers. They lost 5-1 to Tampa, 4-1 to Dallas, 2-1 to Philly. So you could say, well, they're coming home. They're primed for a big victory, maybe. And if you want to take Detroit, go ahead, but they're minus 125 or minus 130, where you're getting a team as hot as the Montreal Canadiens at plus money. That's the side that I like quite a bit more. Montreal began this big streak that they're on with back-to-back victories against Detroit, so they've had their number. And in their last 17 games, Montreal is 13-3-1. Okay, so give me the Montreal Canadiens on the money line. Let's get that upset in back-to-back nights. Plus 112 for Winnipeg last night. Plus 108 for Montreal tonight. I'll take it. And just overall, when you look at the overall numbers, Detroit's only 12-11 at home. They're 1 game better than Montreal is on the road. So I like the Canadiens there. Last bet, repping the Calgary Flames jersey today, and I'm taking the Calgary Flames. Here's an example. Let's just take the money line. I get that it's minus 130. Going to play 1.2 units. They're at home to the Buffalo Sabres, who I've bet against. The last 3 times we've bet against the Buffalo Sabres, we've been profitable each and every time. So I think the big thing for Calgary right now is the play of goaltender Dustin Wolf. The future is now, as they're saying. He's 23 years old, his first full NHL season. He's 16-7-2 right now with 2 shutouts, a 2.5 goals against average, and a 917 save percentage across 25 games. And the Calgary Flames are going to look to keep it going tonight at home against the Sabres. Now, Calgary hasn't played since January the 18th, so they've had 4 days off. You could look at that as a good thing. You could look at that as a bad thing and say, I don't want to bet on a team that hasn't played in 4 days. But they're playing the Buffalo Sabres, which, as I've mentioned, is a very good thing. Buffalo's actually coming off a victory in Vancouver 2 nights ago against the Canucks. They won 3-2. Buffalo has only won back-to-back games twice this season. They haven't done it in over a month. And Calgary at home, 14-6-3, one of the best home teams in the Western Conference. The last time these two teams played was all the way back on November 9th. Buffalo did win in a shootout, so I think Calgary's going to be looking for some revenge here. And Calgary's played well. You know, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They just beat the Winnipeg Jets, but they're back, as I mentioned. They've had 4 days off. That's coming off a 4-game road trip. Nice little break for the team right in the middle there, especially with a rookie goaltender. I know it's a little bit juicy, but I like to pay that. I don't want to play around with the puck line there just because the way things happen. Calgary's been good against the spread this season, 24-21. Buffalo's under 500 ATS this season, but I'm going to pay the minus 130 just because of that layoff. I don't want to get too risky there. So those are my 3 bets for today. Give me the Carolina Hurricanes on the puck line. Give me the Montreal Canadiens on the money line. And give me the Calgary Flames also on the money line. As always, feel free to drop a comment if you want to talk about your bets or anything of that nature. These are also on Spotify and on Apple. You can follow me across the social channels, and I'll keep you updated with what we want to do on a Friday. So that is a Thursday episode. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Let's talk some sports.